Hey guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how to make these macrame earrings. Let's get into the materials list. So, for the materials, you are going to need some macrame rope. I just got this huge bunch off of Amazon. You can also get it at Michael's or wherever your local craft store is. Doesn't matter what kind. I like this kind because it has 3 strands in it and it makes it really easy to make these earrings with the smaller strands. So I would recommend having 3 strands, but I also made these black ones with ones that don't have any strands. They're actually just interwoven together. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to get the frills. And so you can use any kind of macrame rope, it doesn't matter. I would just recommend this one. You're also going to need 2 hoop earrings, 2 of these fishhook earrings, and I got these both at Michael's as well. You're going to need a comb. You're going to need some scissors, some pliers, some tape. You're going to need, these things are optional, but they make it really nice and easier to create. So this is just a wooden dowel. I got this at Michael's. A split ring, which is just a key ring, your regular old key ring, and a big needle. So let's get into actually making. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna take your wooden dowel and your split ring, and you're gonna put the split ring onto your wooden dowel. After that, you're gonna use your tape, and you're gonna tape your wooden dowel down to your table. Let's get this nice and straight for you guys. As you can see, I'm just taping this down to the table. And then after I tape it down to the table, I'm actually going to tape over the tape the other direction. So this is vertical, I'm going to tape it horizontal. And that just secures, I guess that's not really straight, whatever. That just secures the dowel so that when we're actually making the macrame, it doesn't come undone. So once that's secure, we're going to take, I lost my hoop, there it is. We're going to tape our hoop earring, and most of these just come straight. You can see that I've already bent mine. So if it came straight, I'll just bend it back. I would take my pliers and put it through this little loop that it already has and kind of figure out what size I want my earring. And then I would take the pliers and just bend that back so that it can stay connected, because we're going to connect this to our split ring. And if you don't have a wooden dowel or a split ring and want to do it without, you can just actually take your earring and tape it directly to your table, and then you can work with it that way. The wooden dowel and the split ring just makes it a little bit easier to get underneath, because that's mostly where we're going to be working with the earring. But I've done it just with the tape onto the table with the earring, and it works great. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to connect our earring to our split ring, just like that. And that's basically the setup that we need in order to start creating it. So the next thing, I'm going to take my macrame rope, and this is 18 inches long, and I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to cut it with my scissors. Just right in half. So you have 2 pieces of macrame rope that are each 9 inches long. And then after that, I'm going to take and I'm going to unravel these strands. So there's 3 strands in each. And I'm just going to unravel them. Just like this. So that in the end, we'll end up with 6 strands. I'm going to do that with both of my pieces of macrame rope. So that we'll have 6 strands of rope. So there's our 6 strands. You can take 5 of them, kind of put them off to the side. We're just going to be working with one right now. So you're going to take this one piece of macrame rope and you're going to fold it in half, just like this. And then you're going to loop it underneath your earring, just like this, so that the loop goes through. And then you're going to take the ends of your macrame rope and you're going to push them through that loop so that it connects it to your hoop earring, just like that. And then you're going to take another piece, do the same thing. You're going to do this for all 6. You're going to fold it in half, make a loop, and then you're going to go underneath your earring, pull it through a little bit, and then take your ends and just poke them right through and then pull it tight. You don't want to pull too tight, just because if you pull too tight, it's going to make it so your hoop earring is a little bit deformed and not in a circle. But if you do pull it too tight and that's not a perfect circle like mine is, we can fix that in the end. It's not a big deal. So again, fold it in half, make a loop, and then just pull it through. And you want to make sure that these are fairly even. They don't have to be perfect, but it makes it a lot easier if those are a little bit more even. The ends are. And we're just going to do this again till we have all 6 of our strings attached to this hoop earring. Okay, now we have all 6 of our strings attached to the hoop earring. Once we have all 6 of our strings attached to the hoop earring, you can push all 6 of those, well now there's 12, but you can push all those to the side. We're just going to be working with the first 2 right now. So this is the only knot, I'm going to teach you how to do it, that we're going to do throughout the whole earring. And it's super easy. Because we're going to take the left piece, cross it over the right piece so that it's crisscrossed. We're going to take this left piece and we're going to make a 4, cross it over the right piece, and then we're going to go underneath this right piece and through that loop that we just made, just like that. And then we're going to pull this right piece up and this left piece down, and it's going to make a little knot, just like that. And we're going to do that twice. For the second time, you do not have to cross it over again. You can just go right into making the 4 and going over the right piece, under that piece, and through the loop. And again, we're pulling up and up with this one, down with this one, so that you can make that little knot. And that's it. That's all we're going to be doing throughout this whole piece. And you want to kind of make sure these little knots are close to the top. It just makes it look a little bit tighter. If you want a little bit looser look, you don't have to pull them so tight, but I like them a little bit tighter. So then we're going to leave this one off to the side since we've already used that one, and we're going to get that next piece. So that's the 3rd piece in, and we're going to do the same thing. So for the first time, you have to cross it over. So cross the left piece over the right piece, just like this, so it's crisscrossed. Then you're going to take this left piece and you're going to make a 4 or a U and cross it over the right piece, and then you're going to go underneath that piece and through that hole that you just made. And again, we're going to pull up and down, so that makes that knot. And then for the second one, you do not have to cross it over. You just have to make the 4 or the U, cross it over, go underneath, and pull it through, just like this. And you're going to do it twice. So there's 2 knots there, 2 knots there, which makes it 4 knots. And you can see these pieces are pretty close to the same size and length, and this one's a little bit longer, so that's an easy way to tell which ones you've already done. So then we're going to take the next 2 pieces, so now we're on the 4th one in, and we're going to cross it, make sure it's crossed over. And once you get about the second set of knots in, You can see this is already automatically kind of crisscrossing over, so you don't really need to worry about it too much crisscrossing over, but still just make sure you keep an eye on it. So after we crisscross that over, we're going to put those off to the side, make a 4 or a U, go over, under, and through. And we're gonna pull up and down, just like we did before. And then again, don't have to crisscross it because we already did that. We're gonna make a 4, just like this. We're gonna go over, under, through. And that's exactly what you're gonna do throughout the whole thing. That's the only knot that you're gonna do. So we're just gonna keep doing that. So pull, separate these guys. And this is pretty much already crisscrossed over. So, and you see how these now are, let's move this over a little bit. You can see those are the same length, and this one's a little bit longer, and that one's a lot longer. That's how you know that you've already used those 3 and you want to use these 2. So, again, cross it over, just like this. Make a 4, over, under, through. Pull up and down. So you can kind of see that that's making that pattern. If you don't pull it as tight, you'll be able to see kind of in between there, which is what's happening with me, which is totally fine. I started to pull this over, so I'm pulling this strand, this last strand that we just used, and pulling it over, and you can see it's kind of moving these over and making them a little bit tighter. I just do that because this one's getting a little bit shorter, and I want these just to get a little bit tighter and more snug, just so they kind of fit that form. So that's what I'm doing there, but I'm just going to continue on, crossing it over, show you a couple more times, crossing it over, making the 4, and going over, under, through, and then pulling up and down, just like that. And this will be the last one. Last little loop, and there we have it. That is all the knots that you have to do, and if you want it a little bit more snug, you can kind of pull these a little bit tighter, kind of pull those down, but that is basically it. And then I'll show you how to cut these and hide this. Super easy. So after I do this, I'm actually going to turn it over, and I'm going to take, actually, I'm not going to turn it over because you guys can't see that. So it doesn't really matter which side you do it on. I guess I could do it this way. But I actually like to do it on this side because it hides a little better. But I'm going to take my embroidery needle, or my really big fat needle. I don't think this is called an embroidery needle, but. And I'm going to thread it through just any of these middle pieces. It doesn't matter which ones. Just thread it through a couple of these guys. And then I'm going to take this and get my fingers a little bit wet so that I can thread it through. Just gonna thread this through. You're gonna make sure you're gonna have to make sure you get all of these little strands through this needle, which is kind of tricky. So once you get all your threads through, we're just gonna take this and we're gonna pull the needle through so that it secures those threads. And if you don't have this, you do not have to do this step. You can just skip it and it'll be fine. Sometimes the threads kind of get caught, so you'll kind of have to figure out which side of this, you need to pull. Get this side, and we're just gonna pull those threads through, just like that. And you can kind of tug on these guys to make it a little bit more secure. We're gonna take the needle off, just like this. And we're gonna take our scissors, and we're gonna cut what we just pulled through. And you can just cut it really close. Make sure you get all of those little threads. And then if you want to kind of tug on this to kind of hide those a little bit more, then you don't have one sticking out this way. If you don't do this step, you can just kind of either iron this piece that kind of sticks out so it lays a little bit more flat with these guys, or you can just leave it sticking out if you like it that way, but that's what I like to do. And then I'm going to take our comb, and I'm just going to comb through these just to get them kind of all together, make them a little bit more plush. So they start sticking together. And then what I like to do is I actually like to take this off of here. I'm going to close that back up just so that doesn't slip off. And then I like to cut these off of it. It just makes it a little bit easier. And I'm actually going to make this a little bit more circular. So I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to cut these in the same crescent shape or curved shape that this is already in. And I like, you can cut them, you can leave them really long if you like them long like that. I like mine pretty short, so that's how I'm going to cut mine. But you're just going to take it and just start cutting. And you can always cut it a little bit longer than what you think it should be, and then cut it shorter. That's what I like to do. So that's a little bit long for me. You can leave it however long you want. But I'm actually going to cut it a little bit shorter just because that's how I like the look. But just cut it in that same crescent shape. And there you have it. That's pretty much done. The last step that we're going to do is we are going to take our fishhook earring and connect it to here. You're just going to unclasp this, put the fishhook earring through the loop, just like that, and then you're going to close this off. And what I like to do with this is I actually like to cut it a little bit shorter so it's not so long. So we're going to cut this just with our scissors, and then we're going to take our pliers and we're going to make this little, I don't know what to call it, this little hook part. And I'm just going to bend it back this way and then flatten it, just so that doesn't ever come apart again. And then you can either leave it in the middle, but I like to just push it off to the end. And you can see, so mine is not in a perfect circle, and this is where you get to fix it. So you can just bend your hoop into a circle or an oval or whatever shape you want, and there you have it. There is your macrame earring.